Hey, welcome back to Letter G Custom Baits. I'm Joe Gentry. We're doing something a little bit different today. I was at Walmart earlier doing some last minute Christmas shopping, as every man does around this time of year. And I picked up this 1/4 ounce popper from Ozark Trails at Walmart. And so I kind of had the idea that, I'm always painting blanks that I order from these bait suppliers and stuff like that. And, I buy them at fairly low cost and then I paint them up and then I got to put the hardware on them and I got to put the hooks on them, eyes, the whole 9 yards and do the whole thing. Well, this bait already comes with hooks, hardware, eyes. I picked it up for $2. And what I'm going to do is, it's kind of a bland paint job. It actually says on the back that it says hand painted details. I highly doubt that they have anyone sitting anywhere hand painting these baits to sell them for $2. So I'm guessing they're just very cheaply made baits in a factory that's all, robotic controlled painting or whatever. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they do have somebody painting these by hand. I highly doubt it though. So what I'm going to do is strip everything down after I unbox it and take a look at it with you guys, and then I'm going to repaint it and make it look super nice, and whether I put these hooks back on it or put some better hooks on it or whatever, basically just make it look like a super high-end topwater popper, and see what we can do with a $2 bait from Walmart. So let's go ahead and unbox this dude. I can't really even get it to open. There we go. Packaging's pretty decent, actually. I like how they have that plastic with the backing on it. There we go. So let's just get this out of the way. All right, so basically what we have is just a standard popper. Nothing too crazy about the design of the bait. You can buy these styles of blanks in many different variations and sizes from a bunch of different bait suppliers. A couple of treble hooks. This one has, like feathers or marabou or whatever you want to call it tied on it. I can tell you right away, and I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but this is a very, very poorly tied treble hook. First of all this has been trimmed flush, so that looks kind of goofy, and it literally looks like they use like a super thick thread that you would use to sew clothes or something to wrap it on there, and it's not very neat looking. It's pretty rough. That might be part of why the bait's so cheap. The paint job itself, nothing fancy. It's got a little bit of a bone color on the belly. It's got some like pearl on the sides, a little darkness around the eyes, a little bit of glitter or whatever that's in the pearl, and then obviously the red mouth. Nothing fancy. I'm gonna get all this stuff taken off of it. It even has like a blemish right here on top. I don't know if something's stuck in the spray or what, but I'm gonna get all the hardware taken off and either pop the eyes out of it, or if I can't do that, I'll tape them over. The eyes are actually pretty cool looking on this bait, so I want to try to save them. So I'm gonna get all the hardware off, get the eyes taken care of, and then rough it up a little bit and get it on one of these little helping hands, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do with it. Stick with me. Okay, now let's see if these eyes are going to pop out, which I imagine they will. This doesn't look like this bait even has clear coat on it. It looks like they just sprayed it. They might have glued the eyes on, I don't know. There goes that one. So that eye got damaged, so I'm just going to put new eyes on it. I don't even know what happened to the other eye. I lost them both. They went flying. But we got the eyes off, so we don't have to worry about masking them over or anything like that. Now I'm just going to take some steel wool, and I'm going to rough this bait up a little bit. It doesn't even have a lot of paint on it, or like I said, no clear coat at all. If it were a bait you were wanting to completely redo that had a ton of clear coat, like a thick coating, then I would suggest maybe sanding it down some or stripping it or whatever. But this bait doesn't have hardly anything on it at all, so I'm just going to rough it up, and then we'll get started. All right, so first off, as you can imagine, I'm going to take some of this opaque white, and I'm just going to white out the whole bait to give us a fresh canvas to get started. And I'm probably going to leave the mouth red to a certain extent, so I'm not going to worry about whitening that out because I'm just going to go over it with another color similar or whatever probably. So let's just leave the mouth. And there you have it. We've got a fresh bait ready for a new paint scheme. All right, so I was thinking about what I wanted to do with this bait as far as, you know, if I'm going to improve it, I don't want to just turn around and paint a shad pattern where it's got a little bit of a dark back and then throw a dot on the side of it and say, hey, there we go. New bait, better bait. The paint job wouldn't be that much different than what it was when I started. So I think what I'm going to go with, and especially speaking of a lot of times that I'm going to throw poppers and stuff like that around here in the lakes and ponds I fish, most of the time the bass are feeding on bluegill. And I've been kind of on a bluegill kick anyway here lately, getting a bunch of baits ready for some upcoming shows and stuff. So I think I'm going to go with a bluegill pattern. This video is not going to be so much of a tutorial as it is just kind of a process of start to finish of taking this bait from the store and getting it to its finished product. I will still go ahead and, you know, kind of tell you what paints and stuff I'm using as I go. So to start off, I'm just going to take some of this pearlized white and I'm going to spray along the belly real quick. Some yellow. This is a poly transpar medium bass green that I'm going to go over the back and fade down the sides with. Createx Wicked. This is opaque orange for the belly, up towards the head area. All right, next I'm going to take some of this metallic blue. Now while we have that blue in there, take and add a little bit of texture to the gill plate area. Next, we're going to go with some opaque black. I'm going to put some light bars down the side, and I'm going to put an ear and darken up the eyes. This is just a homemade stencil I've made where I just rip the paper, and I also, where'd it go? I also have like 2 or 3 different ear styles on here that I've just cut out, drawn with a pencil and cut out with a scissor. So this is the ear I'm going to use for this bait to put it right in there above the fin. So I'm going to start out by seeing where I want to line these up at. The ears are going to be there. So let's do that, and then I'll put one more on top. And this is just very light. You start to see the darkness of the black go on, I'm going to stop. I don't want it to be super dark. And then I'm going to put one more bar up here. I should have made it a little further up. But that's okay. That's what we're going to roll with here. There's the ear. There we go. Here. Darken up around this eye a little bit more. And then I'm just going to go over the back and just kind of fade these lines in. I'm not going to go way down the side or anything crazy. Just I don't want the lines to be seen on top. I may turn this into a red ear. I keep seeing these baits, little red dots or a little red paint on the back of that ear, and I haven't done that yet. It's not something I've messed with, so I may do that. Hit this with a hairdryer and lock in all this stuff I've done so far. Next, I'm coming in with a Wicked detail yellow ochre. I'm going to go over the orange of the belly a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of it on the tail section. Next, I'm going to come in with some of this metallic purple. I'm just going to go a slight from about the ear back. I just want to put the slightest little tint of purple across the middle of the body. There we go. All right, I think for last, I got a little bit of red, just cheap red paint. I'm gonna hit that mouth and maybe right behind the blue. And then I might put a dot of red on the side, I'm not sure yet. There we go. And I'm just gonna put ever so slightly a little bit of red right here where that fin and gill come together. I feel like that's gonna have a fleshy look to it. And then while we have the paint, I'm just gonna get some on this deal here and put a red dot. There we go, beautiful. That's pretty much what we're gonna quit with right there. I'm gonna get this thing heat set, and then we'll get some eyes and hard clear coat and hardware and all that on it before the end of the video, and we'll see how she looks. All right, so I got some new eyes here, probably a little more realistic than the ones that were on it. The ones that were on it were actually fine. I thought they were cool looking, but they blasted off into oblivion when I tried to take them off, so we're kind of left with just putting new eyes on this bait. I think these will fit. Hope you can see that pretty well, but yeah, turned out to be a decent looking bait. Paint job, eye combo, all that. All right, I'm gonna get this thing clear coated, get some hooks and stuff back on it, and we'll take a last final look and see what we've done with this $2 Walmart bait. Here it is, all finished up, nice and shiny. Clear coat's done, hardware on. Switched out the hardware. Like I said, this was a $2 Ozark Trails Topwater popper from Walmart I picked up yesterday, and it just had a really bland paint job. Didn't really even have any clear coat on it. Had some cheap hooks. The feathers on the back hook looked like they could pull right off. Like it wasn't really in very good shape at all. But stripped it down, painted it. You watched all that already if you've watched the video this far. Switched out the hooks with some super strong sticky sharp trebles from Sugar Tit. The hand-tied treble in the back looks good. I went with the dark instead of the white for a bluegill. I figured that fit better. Yeah, it turned out pretty nice. So if you are beginning to be interested in bait painting, or maybe you have some equipment, I know some of these places that you can buy blanks from, depending on if you buy direct from China or you buy from places here in the States, it could take anywhere from a week or two to a month or two to get your supplies. So if you do have an airbrush and a compressor and some paints and you want to get started, this is another option where you can just go to Walmart or any tackle store, buy the cheapest baits you can find, and you can come home and, strip them down and make them what you want. All in all, I figured, this is completely worth it. I only had $2 in this bait, maybe another dollar or two in hooks, paint and clear coat and things like that. So, I mean, I'd still say I'm like $5 or less. And this is a pretty slick looking bait. So I would say totally worth it. It'd be worth giving a try if you feel like repainting the bait rather than buying fresh blanks and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, I'll leave some footage of this bait on the table at the end, just to give everybody a closer 360-degree view of it. I have some more videos in the works coming up very soon, so stick around for that. Keep an eye out for that. I'm Joe Gentry with Letter G Custom Baits. We'll catch you next time.
Every detail, down to the letter. Letter G Custom Baits.